Compliance Services. So I'm doing one of my little live videos today, just keeping a good eye out on surroundings because I've had a very early start today. I'm now in Brixton. I'm based in the northeast near Newcastle upon Tyne. It's an early start down in Brixton where I'm doing an audit for one of my long-standing clients. So that's why I'm up early across London. I actually stayed in London last night, but got across London this morning. Before it gets too hot, it's going to be 34 degrees here today. So what I want to mention before this week kicks off, before I go in and start my audit, is a mention and a shout out to Mark Harrison from Historic England. And what you're going to see this week are a number of posts from Historic England with Mark Harrison. So go and find him on LinkedIn and maybe make a connection. So Mark is the head of heritage crime at Historic England. And heritage crime in the United Kingdom is a massive problem. Every week, every day, without fail, there are effective criminals going out causing mayhem on the heritage and the history of our country, basically. And that might be vandalising property like churches, gravestones and graveyards, causing damage, antisocial behaviour, people gathering in graveyards, drinking, smoking, having little bonfires, causing damage, all the way to stealing artefacts, stealing things from churches, stealing things from historic monuments and buildings to which the public generally have access anyway. And it's a massive problem, and it causes a lot of stress, a lot of hassle, and deep and long-lasting effects, stealing treasures and doing things that are literally irreplaceable. So Mark will be doing a series of posts this week on ASB as it relates to heritage crime. So I urge you to go find Mark Harrison and follow him and Historic England, and follow the post and the hashtag ASB Awareness Week, which is this week. We're also, so from Risk and Safety Compliance Services, you know that we are heavily involved in rural crime prevention, and we have various training resources that we provide, and we provide services into the rural sector, landed estates and castles and farms and rural businesses, where we go and review and assess their security protocols and systems with a view to identifying any vulnerabilities. And once we identify those vulnerabilities, we'll produce action plans and tangible things that they can get stuck into and change and implement to make them and their businesses and their families and their livelihood effectively a much safer place, free from the potential rural criminal. So we do all of that kind of stuff. So I'll probably move on now then. So let's just recap what we're talking about. So here's the start of the week. It's going to be a belting 34 degrees here in London today. I'm here to do audits. Actually, an interesting footnote while we're talking of audits. Today will be my 360th audit in a public transport setting, which means I've been quite a busy boy over the last few years. On average, I do over 50 audits per annum in bus, transport, train or airport systems, and that keeps me nice and busy, and it's really good fun as well, so I really enjoy doing that. So ASB Awareness Week, follow Mark Harrison, follow Historic England, and of course follow Risk and Safety Compliance Services and me, Richard Wade. And what you're going to see and hear from me going forward, in addition to the normal LinkedIn content that I put out, is a lot more video. Video seems to be getting very popular. I used to do it quite a while ago, maybe about 2.5, nearly 3 years ago. I did a lot of this video stuff, but I let it tail off slightly. But I want to do more of that now, so to try and up the engagement, and I'll do a lot more videos as I'm out and about, because I go around a lot of really interesting places, you know. So I'm in farmers' fields, I'm in rural businesses, landed estates, castles, estates are all over the United Kingdom. I might be working in airports, train stations, bus garages, literally all over the UK. So yeah, I'm hoping that more of these videos. Actually, just might add a little bit of variety to the day and let you know what we get up to here at Risk and Safety Compliance Services. And the final thing I'm going to mention is our training portfolio. So over the years, we've developed some rather unique training courses that we've got out there online. And I want to mention particularly this week, excuse me, particularly this week where we've got Airspeed Awareness Week, rural crime is very high on the agenda, and we've got Farm Safety Week coming up between the 21st and the 25th of July 2025. So what a wonderful time to talk about farm safety. So we developed what we believe to be the world's only unique 3D interactive farm health and safety training course. And this is a course that we devised about 3 years ago, and it's gone through various iterations since it's developed. It's got cleverer and smarter, and there's a lot of work now that we're putting into it using AI. So probably at the back end of this year it's going to look really slick. It looks pretty slick anyway now, so it's a good course. And our 3D farm safety course is designed for farm managers. That's one of the courses, the farm manager health and safety course. And then we've got the farm worker health and safety course as well. Now they're both different in their content and length of course. As you would expect, the manager's course has more of the managerial responsibilities. It talks more about the law, accident reporting, incident reporting, investigation, and more on the compliance side. That's a very good course, and as an integral part of that course, we also have the 3D interactive element. And then you've got the farm worker health and safety course, which is similar in its approach. However, it's a lot shorter, and it doesn't include all of the management stuff. You know, the worker on the farm, on the landed estate, in the agribusiness, they're not that interested in, to be honest, the law, the policies, the procedures. What they want to know is, what do I do? How do I stay safe? And so we take them through their working day, pre-arrival, arrival, what you should be wearing, what your approach and attitude should be, things to look out for, things to do, things not to do in keeping safe throughout the working day. And the aim is the same whether you're doing the farm manager course or the farm worker course. It's to raise that awareness of farm, land and estate and agricultural health and safety with a view to keeping people alive. It's the industry in the UK that injures and kills more people than any other sector, and I include construction in that. And so, you know, our courses are designed to raise that awareness, let people know you work in a very, very dangerous environment. If you're working in farms, agriculture, rural businesses, landed estates, you're at risk. But it doesn't mean you have to become a casualty or a statistic, because there's a lot you can do about it. So that's the farm safety. And then the last one to mention before I close off is our online, again, I believe it's unique, our online rural crime prevention training course. It's fully online. You log in, you work your way through the chapters, and effectively we talk to you all about crime in the rural and agricultural sector. Again, it's a huge problem. We take the student on a journey through a discussion of what is rural crime, what does it look like, what are the offences being committed, and then we talk about the scale of the issue. You might hear all the buses in the background. The scale of the issue, and then we talk about, so what do these criminals do? Because it's interesting that we know exactly what the rural criminals are going to do. We know when they're going to attack, and we know what they're going to take and how they're going to get rid of their ill-gotten gains. So we have all the knowledge. We share that knowledge with the student, the person doing the course, and we encourage them to remain alert, remain aware of what the scale of the issue is. And then effectively we send them back to their place of business, hopefully with more knowledge, more information, but with something to do. At the end of our course, there's a checklist. We encourage people to download the checklist and to go back to their own business, their own farm, their own estate, their own castle, their own rural or agribusiness, whatever it might be, and work through our simple checklist. And it just asks really simple questions. And at the end of it, they'll have a better idea of their own personal security vulnerabilities. It will identify gaps, it will identify weakness. And then, of course, they can transfer that to the action plan that we also provide, and they can do something about it. They can work through the action plan, tick it off as they go. And what we guarantee it is a guarantee. If people listen to the course, and it's very straightforward, if they listen to the course and they work their way through diligently, and then at the end they take the actions identified in the action plan, they are 100% guaranteed to be a safer place to be with a reduced risk of rural crime. We're not saying they're going to get rid of rural crime. We're not saying it's totally preventable, but we can certainly make it harder for the criminals to pick us and for us to become the victim. So it's about doing something, developing a positive security culture amongst our workers and our contractors and people who we interact with on a day-to-day basis. Get everyone on the same page, make everybody aware of crime, the problem, the scale, but more importantly, the role they have to play in minimising the opportunity for the rural criminal. And it's all down to proactivity, it's all down to doing something and taking action, rather than just sitting there and hoping that we don't become a victim. Because one thing's guaranteed: if there's a weakness, if there's a vulnerability, if there's a gap in the security process or procedure, the criminals will exploit it. They're not stupid, they're out there, they're clever, they're well funded, they're organised. It's predominantly organised criminal gangs operating across the UK, jumping between counties, different county lines being crossed in the pursuit of theft of high value items like quad bikes and GPS tracking units and all the rest of it. Yeah, but we can prevent it, you know, so there's a lot to be done. Anyway, time for me to shut up. So that's me, that's Richard Wayne, here in Brixton this morning. A great start to the week. It's going to be 34 degrees. It's going to be damn hot. That's why I got across here really early. Didn't fancy sitting in the tube when it's full of people. It was nice. It was empty. It was just me and a driver and a few others who were asleep. I think there was a lot of tired people around at that time in the morning. So listen, if you've got any questions or you want to have a chat about anything to do with health and safety, audits in particular, rural crime, or farm health and safety, and give us a shout. Risk and Safety Compliance Services Limited. You can find us on LinkedIn, look for me, Richard Wade, or go to our main website, which is www.rascs.co.uk. Have a great time, everyone. Speak to you soon. All the best. Thank you. Bye.